Instead of you being a solopreneur, which is you're working in your business every day, is how about you get out of the day-to-day grind and work on your business and let your business run by itself. So one of the biggest examples that I put is that if you really think about it, that if something were to happen to you today, what's going to happen to your business? Is your business going to continue running by itself,
Right.
or is it going to crash? Are you going to be able to take care of your family if something happens to you today, and you either die or you're in the hospital and you cannot do anything? Are you going to be able to take care of that? Household? Are you going to be able to take care of that? And if the answer is no, then that means you need to scale. You need to figure out where, instead of you being the business owner and the owning business, you own a real business, a real asset. Take that and convert it into an asset. And the only way of converting it into an asset, it's scaling it. It's growing the business. And when we look at scaling, let's not only look about, what is it going to do for us on a personal side, but also what do we get to do with other people? To me, one of the things I love about scaling companies and businesses is that the bigger my company is, the more people that I'm able to have working with me, and means that I'm helping a lot more families. That means that we're serving more people through my clients, because now I'm taking care of more clients. So we're serving more people. So it becomes a more purposeful type of legacy versus just what's in it for me only.
Before we jump into this episode, please subscribe to this podcast, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, and after a listen, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share, if we've earned it. With your help, we can reach more people and deliver these valuable from the trenches lessons to those that need it. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another The Builders. Today, we have Edwin Carrion back. Welcome back to the show.
Matt, thank you for having me here today, and to everyone listening today, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the part of the world you're in, and get ready for something special, because yesterday was my birthday and I'm feeling very generous. So to everyone that stays here until the end of the episode, I'm going to do something that I never do, which is I'm going to give you what is called my business super stack kit, something that I only give to my paid clients. So make sure you stay tuned until
Whoa.
the end, and you put the keyword podcast 24 into my Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you follow me on, and you'll get that free gift from me because it was my birthday yesterday. So Matt, thank you for having me here. Let's get this show on the road.
Thanks for doing that, Edwin. That's awesome. That's very generous of you, and happy birthday. We're 29 years old finally.
Finally,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I need to hire you for my intros. That was really energetic and, and exciting. We can record. You can record my intro for me and get everyone pumped up in the beginning. No, so yeah. So this is your second time on the show. The first time you were on, that was episode 111. We're somewhere in the 190s, so that was a little while ago. It's been a while.
Yes.
What have you been up to? What's new and exciting over there?
New and exciting. I mean, my birthday is, I think that's the new exciting part. Every year that I turn a new year, I become wiser. I become humbler. I realized that today it's so funny. While I was doing my prayer this morning, I realized that God keeps continuing blessing me with everything that I asked for, and it was so mind blowing that before I started my prayer, I'm like, God, talk to me through your word. Let me know what's going on in my life. Let me know what you're giving me. And sure enough, when I'm praying and I'm reading the word, one of the things that I asked for him last year was that I want to impact as many people through public speaking. And one of my biggest visions, one of my goals at that time was that I wanted to speak in front of an audience of 1,000 people. And sure enough, just like about less than a month ago, I was speaking in an audience of 1,000 people. I'm like, wow, sometimes I ask for things that I think they're impossible, but they're so not out of reach that instead of asking for 1,000 people, I should have asked for 10,000 or 100,000 people. And
Right.
God talked to me through the word that don't be afraid to ask what you want. Ask something that is crazy, something that is outrageous. And I'm sharing this right now, not to get everyone to just believe in God, but to also let everyone that when you want something, you have to ask for those crazy things, those things that seem impossible, unable to acquire, unable to get, like me speaking in front of 10,000 people that I'm asking for it today. I'm declaring it today that I will be speaking in front of 10,000 people. Because when I said 1,000 people, I thought it was impossible for me at that time. And look, I already did it. And it took less than a year and a half to get to that point.
Yeah. So set those audacious visions for yourself to be doing something huge. And so just so everybody knows, so you're known as, this is in your bio, the God-made millionaire.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And just briefly for like a minute, tell us where that name comes from. Why do you call yourself the God-made millionaire?
So why did I take on the God Made Millionaire? It was very simple for the reason that when I was younger and not as wise as I am today, I used to call myself a self-made millionaire. But then when I went bankrupt in 2007, I realized that I didn't get to make a lot of money. I didn't get to where I was on my own. It was a lot of people that helped me to get to where I got at that moment. And I never gave them the praise and never gave them the thanks for it. So now I'm very aware of that. And by being a God-made millionaire, not only am I a millionaire like financially, but in all aspects of my life, like in my relationship, in the person that I am, in my health and everything else. So being a millionaire doesn't necessarily mean you have a lot of money in the bank. It means that, you could be rich in the spirit of God. You could be rich into your health. You could be rich into a relationship that you have with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones, or with yourself. Most importantly, with yourself.
So we could all be a God-made millionaire.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the monetary, what's in your bank account.
Exactly. Because
I love that idea.
Means so many different things to so many people. Success to somebody doesn't mean that they want to have millions in the bank. Maybe just means that they want to have financial freedom and be able to travel all over the world, or be able to do whatever they want with their lives, or to have a nice, awesome, steady job that is always going to be secure for them. And that's success to them. So success is very different to every single one of us.
So let's go back to what you were talking about before, about setting that large vision. Now, I've talked in front of a crowd about that size about 15 years ago. And I remember, I knew my material, but it was a little nerve wracking. How did that go for you? It happened. But when you got up there, were you nervous off stage, or when you get up there, you're just in it, you're in the zone, you know your stuff? How'd that feel?
Yes. Always nervous. Even when I get on a stage of 10 people or 1,000 people, you're nervous before you get on the stage. But just before I get on stage, I put on this song that talks about my life story, and I listen to it, and that kind of just gives me the drive to go out there and just inspire people and to show people, how to scale their business, how to grow their companies. Like this one, I talked about, simple processes and steps that you could take to scale your business a lot faster. And, once you know your material, you go out there and you do what you have to do. But I think people learn not so much from the content, but so much from the context that you put into that speech, which is my life story, the things that I've gone through, the things that I've done to get to where I am. And I think that's where it makes a huge impact.
Yeah. Having a unique angle, and your story is unique. That's really good. It's hard. You told me you were listening to something before you got on stage. So is this something you recorded, like, for yourself, or it's a song, or it's a?
Yes, it's a song that I created. So I got a songwriter like a couple of years ago, and I told him, like, I share with him my life story. So he created like my life story song from where I started to where I am now. We put in the beat that I love. And then from there on, my video editor inputted like a lot of pictures that goes with the life story, that goes with the song. So when you look at it, I'm like, my God, okay, this is Edwin, this is who I am. And it just,
that's awesome.
Get me pumped up to just get out there and, inspire people.
Well, because it makes me think about, like, I'm kind of a UFC fan, and, fighting, they come out with their music in their ears, and to get it kind of in the mood, whatever pumps them up, but to have something like customized like that, you should market something like that.
Yes.
Sounds like a service.
It is.
Anyway, yeah. Let's pivot a little bit. So today we want to talk about, we were discussing what we're going to talk about today. And, one of the themes I've been talking about recently on the podcast, and as the challenges today in the current environment. The economy's not in great shape. Inflation, all this stuff happening to us, it's challenging for the people the businesses we work with. If we're an agency, we see the challenges out there, and that's kind of making it challenging for us sometimes, or any business is probably seeing that in different ways. But at the same time, you kind of have to accept that that's the environment we're in. And we still want to think about growth and scaling and taking our business to that next level. Speak to that a little bit. How does somebody bridge that? Like, oh, I'm just trying to day to day try to get through things, and I'm trying to put out fires and just ride this out. But at the same time, I know I want to grow my business. How do you do that?
Right. I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to understand that we can make a lot of money in any economy, right? Don't let whatever the world is happening in the world dictate what's going on in your personal situation. And I had to learn that from personal experience, that when I went bankrupt in 2007, that's when the real estate market crashed. The world, pretty much the whole U.S. economy, we were in a recession. And then sure enough, what do? I learn about the gold buying business, and I get into the gold buying business, and I start making millions of dollars during a recession. So one of the things that I learned at that moment was it doesn't matter where the economy is. We could be on a good economy, we could be on a recession, we could make millions of dollars, whether it's a good economy or a bad economy. It's how we look at things. How do we look at opportunities? Because when we're in a recession, that's when the really opportunities start to come up. And one of the examples that I always put into it, and I always use my wife as an example, like every time she goes shopping, I'm like, oh my God, you already went shopping again. You already bought this. And I complain, right? Like men, we all gonna do that. But she comes to me and she's like, oh, but it was on sale. It was like 30% off. They had a huge sale. And it's always the same thing. So then I started to think, right? I'm like, she's always buying when there's sales. So she's smart. She's not just spending money. She's really like spending money wisely. So I started to think about that. What happened to me back then in 2007 and in 2010, that the economy was in recession. So pretty much the United States was on sale. Pretty much the whole world was on sale. So if you start looking at things that way, you start taking advantage of opportunities. So I was able to buy a lot of properties during 2010, 2009 market crash at pretty much cents on the dollar. I was able to buy $300,000 homes for $100,000 and kind of build out my portfolio that I was able to sell that and just cash out big time. But people are so afraid of what's going on that they don't want to look and open their eyes to those opportunities. If you have a business, like you're into the marketing business, at that moment is when you start looking at other marketing businesses that are struggling, and you go buy them out, and now you start acquiring their markets. Now you have a bigger share. So when things turn around, you just gain a huge market share because you were diligent and you weren't afraid of taking opportunities of all those things that were in sale at that moment. And the other thing is too that a lot of entrepreneurs do is pretty much they start cutting expenses. And one of the biggest expense that they cut at that moment, it's marketing. And I think marketing is the expense that you should never cut. It's the expense that you need to like double when the economy is in a recession, because now since nobody's doing marketing, and if you double your marketing efforts, now everybody gets to know you. And that's the reason we're able to succeed so fast when I started my gold buying business during the recession, because the moment we started doing marketing, we're spending like over $100,000 a month in marketing. Like we're on TV, we're on the news, we're like on the newspapers, we're on the radio, we were like everywhere you could think of back then. Not so much social media because it wasn't as big, but we were everywhere, and we're able to scale really fast because of that.
That's actually a really good point. This summer, we're in 2024. My businesses, I was talking about other businesses and stuff kind of struggling and stuff, and it's had an impact on us. I've had to downsize a little bit, let some team members go, and cut some expenses, look at what I can. But at the same time, it was my instinct to be like, okay, well, I need to do more marketing. I started a new outbound campaign for, email outbound campaign. I'm ramping up. I'm doing more guesting and doing my own side of things. But that was, to me, that's my instinct. And I think it would be easy. There's probably a lot of business owners out there. It'd be easy to get like, oh my gosh, this sucks. I got to cut expenses. What am I going to do? And just get, and focus on the wrong things. It's probably easy to focus on the wrong things and not the right things. So what, so the idea here is that when even when we're struggling and we're challenged, we're not doing as well as we want to do or we envision, that there's still opportunities out there and discounted opportunities. I love when you said like, the United States was on sale. That's a good way to look at it. I love that. What else is on sale? And the other thing that kind of rung a bell in my head, was like, yeah, actually, maybe I should do more advertising right now because a lot of people that's what they're trimming back. That's what they're lowering their spending. So there may be more opportunities to buy ads and stuff like that.
No, there are, and it's incredible because I remember, for example, at that time was Comcast, and in Comcast, like when we started, like we were getting the ads really inexpensive, like let's say maybe $2 per view or something like that. And then when the economy got better, then it went up to like $6-7. Like it tripled the amount of money that we were paying for ads. But we continue doing that. But the other thing with scaling is, again, we have to trim the fat. We have to make sure that we're not over leveraged. I always tell people, like, in order for you to have a sustainable business is to make sure that you're not over leveraged. You don't want to be over leveraged. But, part of scaling a business is that you have to put money into it. If you want to get to $1 million, you cannot be afraid of spending $100,000. Because if you're afraid of spending $100,000, how can you get to that $1 million mark?
Right. You have to reinvest in your business. And that's tough because as business owners, we want to bring home some profits.
Yes.
Just take some of the profits. We want to take that home and put it on our bank account. But you got to get used to leaving some of that in the bucket for advertising or whatever. So what ways? So first of all, let's define scaling. Is there a difference between like scaling and growing? And what does scaling mean in a business?
When we put the words together, right, scaling, growing is the same thing. It's growing the business, taking your business to the next level. What do you want to do? Instead of you being a solopreneur, which is you're working in your business every day, is how about get out of the day-to-day grind and work on your business and let your business run by itself. So one of the biggest examples that I put is that if you really think about it, that if something were to happen to you today, what's going to happen to your business? Is your business going to continue running by itself, or is it going to crash? Are you going to be able to take care of your family if something happens to you today and you either die or you're in the hospital and you cannot do anything? Are you going to be able to take care of that household? Are you going to be able to take care of that? And if the answer is no, then that means you need to scale. You need to figure out where, instead of you being the business owner and the owning business, you own a real business, a real asset. Take that and convert it into an asset. And the only way of converting it into an asset is scaling it. It's growing the business. And when we look at scaling, let's not only look about, what is it going to do for us on a personal side, but also what do we get to do with other people? To me, one of the things I love about scaling companies and businesses is that the bigger my company is, the more people that I'm able to have working with me. And means that I'm helping a lot more families. That means that we're serving more people through my clients because now I'm taking care of more clients. So we're serving more people. So it becomes a more purposeful type of legacy versus just what's in it for me only.
I love that a lot. Because, as a business owner, especially as you've built teams and stuff like you have, I have probably smaller scale than you. But I'm just a wee little boutique agency over here. But you feel a lot of responsibility for the people that work for you.
Yes.
That's why it should motivate you, inspire you to work harder for them and for your clients, to do more for your clients and do a better job and help them as well, especially in these times. But I think that's an inspiring way to look at things. So it's not just about self-serving, like trying to get I'm doing this so I can make some money and buy that car and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. But
And
when you
that
have a
comes along,
larger vision,
those are the prices that come along with that. The extra money
yeah,
to buy the nice car, the nicer
well, you
house, and all
yeah,
those nice vacations.
yes. You certainly need to reward yourself still, right? I mean,
Yes.
you can do both. Both things can be true. You
Yeah.
can take care of people and take care of yourself, hopefully.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, so what are some of the things that somebody can do? So if somebody's got a business, I think about myself, and I'll use myself as an example and just throw myself under the bus. But so I have an agency. I work on and in the business, to be honest, right now, right? I feel like I'm in that phase where I'm still trying to get her going. Even though I'm in the 6th year, we're doing good. I have a team that is doing work for our clients. I have VAs. I got help with the admin side of things and those things. But one of the things that the hump I have not gotten over, and I feel like there's some kind of threshold I need to get over, is replacing myself. Like you made a really good point before and I've heard this from other entrepreneurs, other people, preach the same thing. It's like, you got to get yourself in a position where if you disappear you're in the hospital or you're gone for whatever reason for 2-3 months, is your business still going to be going when you get back? What's it going to look like? Have you lost all your clients? Is your team gone? Who's managing things when you're not around? And I know, so that's one thing that I think helps on the scaling side of things, because then it frees you up to do more, like you said, work on the business, do more, get out there, speak, whatever you're going to do to build your brand and stuff like that.
Yes.
What other things is scaling? What other elements go into scaling besides hiring?
Besides hiring, again, systems, processes. Everything is about systems and processes. One of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs forget to do is they have what I call this entrepreneurship ego, meaning that nobody could do anything as good as you can, which is reality. Nobody could do that. But there's people that could do things sometimes better than you, sometimes as close as good as you can. But if you don't start putting those systems and processes in place, then you become, you're not able to be replaced. You become irreplaceable. So in order for somebody to replace you, you have to start since the beginning, since early stages, is creating those systems and places and processes into your business in order for you to be replaceable, for somebody to come in and replace you, or for you to continue scaling and growing your company. And that's why we're able to scale our jewelry business so fast in less than 2 years, because since the beginning, we created those systems and processes that are very detailed, so detailed as to when you come into the store, the first thing you do is turn on the light switch. The light switch is on the right-hand side. And you turn on the alarm. The code is this and that. And you press this button. Very detailed, that that there's no mistake. So whenever there's a mistake, you could go back to your employees and say, hey, you made a mistake because you skipped this one step right here on the checklist that I gave you. And it's very simple to catch mistakes, because once you start going through the checklist, you're going to notice that somebody skipped a mistake. Skipped one of your check marks on the checklist. And it happens to me. And that's the way I do things. Sometimes I make things very simple. I give them 4 steps or 5 steps, like to my bookkeepers. Okay, these are the 5 steps that you have to go through. If something didn't go through, I'm going to go through. The first thing I'm going to do with you, if there's a mistake, I'm going to go through these 5 steps. If you miss one of them, that's the mistake. And if you did all of them and there's still a mistake, then maybe there was something that I didn't teach you or that I didn't show you. And that's why this happened.
I think that, that is critical. And from somebody that runs a web design development team and processes, systems, documentation, really critical to what we do, or even for our project managers. And it's, you have to scale, you have to block that time, right? To do those things. In the beginning, you're going to have to do those things until somebody else can create that documentation and do those things for you. It's this, You have to evolve into that most likely. But one of the things that I grapple with sometimes is I'm a very detailed person, and when I create checklists for myself, I'm super detailed. Like you were talking, even when I was doing web development years ago, I would make these long like checklists and every little detail so I wouldn't miss anything. But sometimes I feel like that's overwhelming for some people, and sometimes I probably don't need to go that far. It's just finding this balance. And what I'll often do is I'll try to, even assigning a simple task, I give somebody a task and I try to give them the bare minimum. And if they don't get it, then you expand on it. And it's the same with documentation and processes, right? You start with those 5 steps, but maybe those 5 steps have to, eventually turn into 10, or they have to be broken into steps. But it's something that's got to always evolve and
Yes,
you have to pay attention to.
and I look, I truly believe, and I don't think that sometimes you have to trust people. I think the more detailed you are with your steps, the better it is. And I always put this example that I'm a pilot, right? And it doesn't matter how, if you look at when I fly the plane, like even though I know already by memory everything that I need to do, I still have to follow that checklist, because I know that if I miss one step on that checklist, because I'm on a rush, because things happen in life. That day I could have a bad day. That day I could be hungry. That day I could be on a rush because I want to get there faster. And if I miss one of those things on that checklist, that could mean that it is either my life or my family's life on the line. And that's why, if you look at professional pilots that have been flying like this 777 and, the commercial airliners that are flying for 20, 30 years, they still follow a checklist. And they know this checklist by heart. But they go through every single step on the checklist every single time, because they know that one little mistake could cost their life and everybody else on board. So in business, it's not so so critical that somebody's life is going to be at stake, but having those steps just makes things so much easier for them to understand that, hey, if I miss this, there could be something wrong with this.
Yeah, 100%. So you learn what you fly planes?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I knew this about you. You have your own plane?
Yes, I used to have my own plane. I fly a Cirrus, and one of the that's the plane that has the parachute on a plane. The only one that has a parachute, and I'm a pilot.
Oh, nice.
So I'm the
Nice.
jack of all trades. Pilot, captain, so you name it.
Oh, that's cool. That's something I will never do. I can guarantee it. I will never fly a plane, but that's okay. We can't do everything. I will fly. I'll fly with you someday, maybe. Good, especially if knowing it has a parachute. We're all safe. When did you get started? No, I'm curious about this. When did you start flying? Did you?
Well, no. The first time I went up in the air I was 16 years old. I had a friend of mine take me up. He was a pilot, and I loved it. There's a saying that once you go up to the sky, you will never walk on the earth with your eyes looking at the sky. And it's the reality. Like, I always wanted to go back and become a pilot, and that hobby is a very expensive hobby. So back in 2014, I was able to buy my own plane, and I bought my plane, and that's how I got my license, and I became a pilot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. It sounds amazing.
It is.
I've never even, I've never even been in a small plane, just flying around, just go wherever you want to go. And anytime, that'd be cool. Anyway,
I always say
I digress.
The world just becomes a lot smaller when you have that power of, flying and just being anywhere. So
sure. Yeah.
One of my favorite trips of all time was that we flew from Miami to the Exumas to Bahamas with my family on the plane. And just flying over water, going overseas.
Over the ocean.
And then landing in the Exumas. It was like such an incredible experience.
No pressure. No pressure at all. Just Oh, wow. So do you have, we talk about scaling here, and the various, a couple things that go into it. Do you have a good story, like something that you've done, some business you've done, or somebody that's taken us from what we're talking about here, somebody that's not growing, or they're not, haven't even figured out how to scale yet. that they've done it, they've applied these things, and they've seen the results of that?
Oh yes, no, no. I have a lot of my students. I mean, I'll tell you one of my recent case studies that, and I just spoke to him this week. Actually, yesterday I was on the phone with him. Yesterday I was on the phone with him. His name is Danny, and Dan. So he's out of New Jersey. I started mentoring him like around last year. We did a 6 month mentoring with him. He was part of my inner circle, and he wanted to start an app to help small business owners. Think of it like the Yelp, but a better version than Yelp. This is more like a centralized version than Yelp. So he started with this idea that he wanted to create an app. He was working as a W-2 employee for a company. And, he started building this app, creating this app. So now, a year later, he's launching his app. This week, he has already like 500 subscribers. He quit his job and he was making almost like $250,000 a year on that job. So he was comfortable. And he decided to take the leap of faith to really start his business. He's grown his company. He has like around 6 people working for him. Plus, he has another founder that joined him into the company. And by early next year, they're probably going to raise like $2 million to continue scaling this business and make this a household name. So you'll probably hear about that, within the next year, you'll hear all about this app. And
very cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
The Yelp competitor.
Yeah,
very nice. So that's
the revised version, because I don't think there's a
revised version.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's something we didn't touch on is getting funding and financing to help you scale as well.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the name of the app. So for all of those of you listening to it, if you own a business, if you're a business owner, make sure you check out, let me see the name of the company. It's Remark. There you go.
Remark.
Take a look at Remark.
Okay.
That's the next one coming up. And
very cool.
So from there, that's one of my case studies. The other one is I was working with a realtor, a young kid. He wanted to sell multi-million-dollar projects. He was selling only like $300,000 homes in New York. Wanted to move to Miami. And right now, after mentoring him, he's selling multi-million-dollar projects, traveling to South America, speaking on events, on stages, and being the expert of getting investors in South America to invest the money in the United States into real estate projects and buying real estate and selling multi-million-dollar projects. So one of the things about scaling is always having somebody that is where you want to get to help you mentor you. Because I always say you can do things on your own and get there on your own. But if you have somebody that has been there, that has done that, the learning curve just kind of like cuts down and you're able to scale and grow faster. And not only that, but make less mistakes, because at the end of the day, on the journey to success, on the journey to scaling, we're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. But if we have the right business mentors, the right partners with us, we're going to make less mistakes, and those mistakes are going to be less expensive.
That sounds like a lot of common sense right there. So it's in your story about getting funding, getting financing, and to help you scale as well. To have somebody invest in it. But you're investing in yourself by getting a mentor or a coach or a partner to help you fill the gaps and learn from their experience. That sounds like something I need.
The funny thing is that not a lot of people believe in mentoring but what they forget to really understand is that as we invest money into software, as we invest money into marketing, as we invest money into all these other things that we invest into our business, the one thing that we don't invest is into our biggest asset. And the biggest asset is us, the business owners. So the moment that we start that we need to invest in ourselves, in order that we need to invest in our personal development and our personal growth, into having the right mentors and the right people that are going to open the right doors for us. Because having a great mentor not only does it give you like that personal development growth, but also opens doors to another world that you will never have access to for not being with that person.
Right. It reminds me of like networking and stuff. We had a guy on here a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you
it's
think about it
basically
right
you're
now,
getting access. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, exactly. If you think about it right now, like how many people will want access to your Rolodex? There's a lot of people that maybe at a level lower than you that want access to your Rolodex. So imagine what my Rolodex looks like, and imagine if I
Yeah,
were to mentor you and I give you access to my Rolodex, how much would that be worth to you, right? Just that one connection could just pay off for the whole mentoring.
it's exactly right. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So I was going to mention we had somebody on here a long time ago, a couple of years ago, that I know he inspired a bunch of people. His name's Al. You can look him up on our site. Al Wagner, and in on the call, it's like the one of those moments, those memorable moments of all the podcasts we've had. And we're a couple hundred here, where he like brought out his phone and he said, networking is about not necessarily that person in front of you, doing business with that person. What can they do for you? It's getting access to this. And he showed the phone. He showed the phone and he's like, that's what you want to get access to. That person's in, the digital Rolodex.
Yeah,
And it may not happen today, but somewhere down the road, and we're like, oh, okay. They see an opportunity where it can connect you.
yeah.
And that's powerful. But
And,
we
and,
talk about a lot
and
of
now
different
that,
things here.
yeah, and now that you mentioned that,
Go
let
ahead.
me share a personal story with that as well. So, right,
Okay.
I'm a true believer of mentoring and having the right mentors and having the right access, right? So, my recent mentor, one of the mentors that I'm working with right now, his name is Dan Fledgman. He's a huge guy into this world. And when I started working with him, again, I knew that I will have access to his Rolodex, to his network. And I will never in my life thought that I will meet billionaires while we have friends as billionaires. And after starting working with him, we went to our first get together, and I met one multi-billionaire and one and two billionaires, and now they're friends of mine. So my Rolodex just
Wow.
grew so much more just because of this. So that's one of the things. Like when you have the right people, the right mentors, they're going to open up that Rolodex to you to be able to get you to where you need to get or where you want to get.
That's a fantastic message. So you're talking about students, you're talking about people you've helped, and so how do you help people? What are you doing these days? I think you mentioned you have some new projects that you're working on, and what's going on that side of things, and how can people get help from you?
Yes, one of the biggest things that I started like about a year and a half ago was I started mentoring people, really like giving my experience to others to be able to learn real estate development, to be able to learn how to scale their companies, how to grow their companies, how to exit their companies. And that's like my biggest passion right now because I love working with individuals where I'm able to take them from where they are right now, take them away from their pain points, from their struggles, and making them realize that, hey, we can't get you to eight figures really fast. And all we need to do is this, this, and this. But at the same time, it's not only having like getting to those eight figures, but also having that balanced life. When you start looking at it, and we talked about this at the beginning, it's not all about having the money, but it's becoming that millionaire in all aspects of your life where you have
Right.
that balanced life, you have that good relationship with you start caring for yourself, you have a good, healthy body, not fit body, but a good, healthy body. And you also have a good business that is going to run by itself. And now you could focus into the things that you always dreamed of, that you always wanted to, which is, inspiring more people, helping more people, giving back, taking care of your family, taking care of your friends, all those things that we all dream of.
Fantastic. That's um, a great effort there. So if somebody wants to reach out to you and they want to find you on the World Wide Web, where do they go? Do you got a website? Do you hang
Yeah,
out anywhere on social media?
sure. You know it. I'm on all social media channels. You can find me at Edwin Carrion 78. If you go to my website, edwincarrion.com, you can click there. There's a link to all my social media channels. And again, for all of you that stayed until the end, uh, that stayed here and listened to this whole episode and enjoyed the episode, like I told you at the beginning, I'm going to share with you something that you're not going to find anywhere on the internet. I don't sell this. I only give this to my paying clients But because you guys stayed until the end, I'm going to give it to you absolutely for free. And I call that my business super stack kit. And what this kit is going to do is going to give you everything you need to be able to shortcut your progress and achieve success fast as possible. So just DM me, Podcast 24, social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. I'm everywhere, TikTok as well. And you're going to get my free business super stack kit.
And where do they get that? Do they go some? They just go to any of those places?
Send me a DM on social media.
Okay.
Podcast 24. That's the keyword. Podcast 24.
Podcast 24.
Podcast 24.
Okay. So can I DM you right here?
Yes, sir.
Podcast 24.
Send me a DM.
Just send me one right here. Because I want to dig into that myself. It was great having you back, Edwin. I'm excited to dig into more of your content and continue to watch your journey. It's you're doing some amazing things.
Matt, thank you for having me again. I appreciate it, and congratulations on show number 199. Let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going. Take care.
Take care. Everybody listening, if you don't know where you're going, you will eventually get there.
That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already and give us a thumbs up if we deserve it. Now a word from our sponsor, my agency, Unified Web Design. We build custom websites, features, we maintain websites, we work with agencies to fulfill their web design and development needs, and more. If you're interested in our services or are looking for an agency to work with as a partner to build awesome sites for your clients, feel free to reach out to me at unifiedwebdesign.com. There's a handy contact me link at the top. Fill out that form and it will open a ticket, and that ticket will find its way to me. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.